Two soldiers, 1,000 years apart, both at the peak of their craft. If they had ever met on the same ground, with the same odds, which one would walk away? The answer, as always, depends on the ground. 12th century, Western Europe. The Crusades are reshaping the world, and at the center of that reshaping stands a single kind of man. The full plate harness has not yet been invented, but the mail hauberk reaches his knees, the great helm seals his face, and the warhorse beneath him has been bred for 2 generations to carry a man in iron at speed across a field. He is the single most expensive object his civilization has ever learned to build. Not the castle, not the cathedral, the knight. 1,100 years earlier, the Mediterranean world had already answered the same question, differently. Stitched into iron and leather, drilled until marching in formation is faster and safer than running alone, the Roman legionary is the mass-produced solution to a problem of empire. How do you hold a border that runs for 5,000 kilometers in every climate on Earth against enemies who know the ground better than you do? He does not exist as an individual. He exists as a 16th of a contubernium, an 80th of a century, a fraction of a machine that has no individual ambition and no individual failure. Only the machine's will, moving forward. 2 answers, 1,000 years apart, both correct, for entirely different reasons. The knight is what feudal Europe built when it needed to answer a question no peasant with a pitchfork could answer. What stops a man on a horse? The answer, it turned out, was another man on a horse. Better trained, better armed, better bred. And so the knight became the apex of the military hierarchy, not because someone planned it, but because the logic of violence in an open field demanded it. The great estates of France and England and the Holy Roman Empire existed, in no small part, to fund the equipment of a single mounted warrior. One knight, one farm, one village, one family bound to the land so that one man could ride. The training begins young. At 7 or 8, a boy from the right family enters the household of an older lord as a page, cleaning armor, serving at table, learning how men of consequence move and speak. At 14, he becomes a squire, and the real work begins. He learns the sword on foot before he is allowed to mount. He tilts at the quintain, a weighted post that swings back and hits him if his aim is wrong. Before he is allowed to charge a man, he falls from horses, from training courses, from his own mistakes, until falling is just another thing that happens and he gets up anyway. By 21, if he survives, he is knighted. He has spent 14 years learning to be dangerous. He will spend the rest of his life being dangerous. But here is what the films miss. The medieval knight does not fight the way we imagine. He does not duel for honor on a green field with pennants flying. He fights, when he fights, in a messy, muddy, expensive contest between cousins who want each other's land, on wet November ground, surrounded by hundreds of his own kind and thousands of infantry behind. The knight is not a soldier, he is a weapon, the army is the soldier, and the knight is its sharpest point. Begin with what he wears. By the late 12th century, the hauberk, the chain mail shirt, extends from neck to knee, covering the elbows and sometimes the wrists. Tens of thousands of small iron rings, each one riveted closed by hand, one by one, in a workshop that charges by the month. The complete garment weighs somewhere between 14 and 16 kilograms, well attested through surviving examples, and that weight is distributed across the whole torso and upper body, not concentrated in one place. A man who wears it daily stops noticing it within weeks. Beneath it, a quilted gambeson of wool or linen absorbs the energy that rings alone cannot stop. It is the padding inside a crash helmet. The mail is the shell. The gambeson is the reason the shell works. The great helm covers his head completely. A single iron cylinder, forged into a rounded cap with a flat faceplate, pierced with a slit for vision no wider than 2 fingers and small holes for air. Inside it, the world narrows to a strip of light. He hears his own breathing. He hears nothing else. In exchange for this near blindness, near deafness, and the sweat that pools immediately above the gambeson collar, he has given himself a head that a warhammer bounces off. The blow that would kill a man without a helmet becomes, inside the great helm, a very loud noise and a headache. His longsword is 110 centimeters of cruciform steel, crossguard, grip, and a tapered double-edged blade that weighs, in most surviving examples, between 1.5 and 1 6/10 kilograms. Made not for the press of a crowd, but for the open ground of mounted or single combat, where reach is everything. By the 12th century, the swords of Western Europe are becoming thrusting weapons as much as cutting ones. The point sharpened and the tip narrowed, designed to find the gaps in another knight's mail at the armpit. The throat, the inside of the elbow. The edge cuts cloth. The point finds iron. And the lance. 3 to 4 meters of ash or pine, tipped with an iron point and held underarm, couched in the technical language, so that when the warhorse charges, the knight does not strike with his arm. He has no need to. The warhorse does the striking. 600 kilograms of animal moving at 30 kilometers an hour, directed down the line of a single wooden shaft, channeled into a point the size of a thumb. The physics of that collision are not recoverable by any 12th century infantry armor. The lance does not penetrate, it transfers. Mail, helm, longsword, lance, kite shield, warhorse, 14 years of training. The most expensive single combatant the world has yet produced. And, on open ground, one of the most dangerous. 1,000 years earlier, on the other side of the Mediterranean, the Roman Republic, and then the Empire, answered the military question in the opposite way. Where the knight is expensive, singular, and irreplaceable, the legionary is standardized, interchangeable, and produced in lots of 5,000. Rome did not win its empire through genius commanders alone, though it had those. It won it through institutional consistency. An army that drills the same way, marches the same way, camps the same way, every day for 20 years, regardless of who is commanding it, is an army that works even when its general dies. The legionary signs away 25 years of his life to the army, reduced to 20 under Augustus, but still a generation. He sleeps in a leather tent he shares with 7 other men, his contubernium, the 8-man unit that is the irreducible atom of the Roman military system. He marches up to 30 kilometers a day in full kit, a figure from Caesar's own accounts of the Gallic campaigns, though the pace varied with terrain and season. He digs a fortified camp every night before he eats. He carries his rations, his tools, and parts of the camp palisade on his back. He is paid 300 denarii a year under Augustus, and the army deducts for food, boots, and equipment before he sees a coin. He is, in every way, a professional, the oldest kind. He is not trained as an individual. He is trained as a component. His whole world, tactically, is the man to his left and the man to his right, and the shield of the man in front pressing into his back. When the sentry advances, he does not see the enemy. He sees the red horsehair plume of the man ahead and the painted leather of the scutum that is moving with him. The discipline of the Roman army was not cruelty for cruelty's sake. It was the engineering of a collective reflex. When the order comes to advance, 5,000 men advance as one body with one breath. Begin again with what he wears. The lorica segmentata, the articulated iron plate harness that became the defining image of the Roman soldier, is built in overlapping horizontal bands of curved iron held together with leather straps and bronze buckles. Surviving examples and reconstruction work suggest a total weight between 6 and 9 kilograms, roughly half the weight of the knight's mail. It is faster to put on, it is lighter in the shoulders, and it provides better protection against vertical cuts because the bands deflect downward blows. Its weakness is coverage. The thighs, the lower arms, and the neck are only partially protected. The Roman knew this. He compensated with the shield. His helmet, the imperial Gallic type, best documented through surviving examples from the 1st and 2nd centuries, does what the great helm does, but differently. It covers the top, sides, and back of the head fully. The cheek pieces hinge outward when struck rather than transferring the full impact inward. The broad neck guard sweeps back at an angle to deflect downward blows from the rear. But critically, he hears commands. He sees his neighbors on either side. He breathes without restriction. The great helm protects a man who fights alone, The Imperial Gallic helmet protects a man who must stay aware of the formation around him. The trait is not protection for exposure, it is protection for coordination. The Gladius hispaniensis is short. Most surviving or archaeologically documented examples sit between 55 and 65 centimeters, about 2/3 the length of the knight's longsword. It weighs somewhere around 700 to 900 grams. The grip is designed for the palm of a hand, not for a wide swing, because a wide swing inside the scutum wall would strike your own man. The gladius is not a weapon of reach, it is a weapon of geometry. The geometry of the gap that opens, for one moment, between two enemy shields pressing against your own, and the single downward thrust that fills it. And before the gladius, the pilum, a 2-meter javelin with a distinctive feature, a long, thin iron shank connecting the wooden shaft to the iron point. That shank is deliberately made of softer iron. When the pilum strikes a shield, the shank bends, and a bent pilum cannot be thrown back. It hangs in the shield, dragging it down, forcing the enemy to drop it or carry dead weight into the next 3 seconds of combat. When it strikes a man, it kills him. The pilum is not a weapon of bravery, it is a weapon of logistics. And the scutum, 1/2 meter wide, 1.25 meters tall, a curved rectangle of laminated poplar or birch planks, faced with leather, edged with iron, bossed at the center. Archaeological examples suggest weights between 5 and 7 kilograms in one arm, substantial but manageable for a man who drills with it daily. The scutum alone does not protect the legionary. The scutum, locked against the scutum of the man beside him, makes him part of something that cannot be killed one piece at a time. Two soldiers, 1,000 years apart, built for two completely different problems. The knight wears between 25 and 30 kilograms of mail, gambeson, and helm, mounted on 600 kilograms of warhorse bred specifically for the collision he is about to cause. The legionary wears between 15 and 20 kilograms of plate, padding, shield, and weapons, carried on his own body, marching at the pace of the century around him. The knight is one man with the offensive force of a cavalry charge. The legionary is one component of a machine that does not care whether one component lives or dies, as long as the machine keeps moving. Neither of these is a better design. They are different answers to different questions. The question the knight answers is, how do you end a battle in 30 seconds? The question the legionary answers is, how do you win a war that lasts 3 hours? The knight's great weakness is isolation. A mounted charge works on open ground, against a line that can be broken, against a moment that can be manufactured. Deny him the open ground, deny him the moment, and the most expensive soldier in Europe becomes a very heavy man trying to turn a large animal in a small space. The legionary's great weakness is the same, in reverse. Remove him from his century, break the formation, and he is a man with a short sword and a big shield, alone on a field, facing a horseman with a lance. The verdict is not about the men, it is about the conditions. Imagine the encounter on its most favorable terms for both. Open ground, noon, no walls, no allies, no formation, one knight, one legionary, a flat field with nowhere to retreat and nothing to hide behind. The knight charges. He does not walk, he does not trot. He puts the warhorse to full gallop from 100 meters, and the world narrows in the legionary's vision to a single dark point growing rapidly larger. The legionary does what he was trained to do. He braces the scutum, plants his rear foot, and gets the gladius up. But he was never trained to do this alone. The pilum throw, at 20 paces, hits the shield and the iron shank bends. But the lance comes a half-second later, and no single scutum, held by one man with no neighbor's shield overlapping his, stops 600 kilograms of directed momentum. The shield splinters. The legionary goes down. He is, in this scenario, simply not built for this problem. On open ground, in a single combat, the knight wins, and the outcome is not close. Now remove the open ground. Put the encounter inside a captured Judean town in 70 AD. A narrow stone street, 3 meters wide, buildings rising 5 meters on each side. A Roman century, 80 men, has entered the town in testudo, shields locked overhead into the flanks, a moving shell of iron and wood that arrows and spears cannot penetrate from above. blocking the street, a single mounted knight. The horse cannot turn. The lance cannot extend to its full couch length in the space available. And without the full extension, there is no momentum transfer. Only a man jabbing with a stick. The longsword cannot swing without striking the walls. Two pila come out of the testudo at 15 paces. The first punches through the chainmail. The soft iron shank is designed for this, a narrow point concentrating force into a small area. The second drops the horse. The testudo advances over both, Gladdy working upward through the gaps at the fallen knight's visor and armpit and the backs of his knees, and the sentry does not slow down. It does not celebrate. It continues down the street. In formation combat in constricted space, the knight cannot win, not because he is less brave or less skilled, but because the entire system he is part of was built for a different ground. The verdict then is not who is stronger, it is who is on his ground. A knight is what happens when one man can afford to be a fortress. He is the concentrated military investment of an entire estate, an entire family, an entire social order. He is magnificent, and he is fragile in the way that concentrated things are fragile. Remove the conditions that make him possible, and there is nothing left to fall back on. A legionary is what happens when an empire decides that no man should ever fight alone. He is not magnificent. He is reliable, and reliable at scale across 5,000 kilometers of border for 400 years is a different kind of magnificent, the kind that does not end when one man falls. Two answers to one question. Next time on VS History, Greek phalanx against Roman testudo, the two greatest defensive formations the ancient world ever produced, meeting on the same ground in the same era. Subscribe to find out which one breaks first.